Good afternoon and welcome. This is a very hot day today, and it is a scorcher, and it's been like this for the last week and a half or so. I don't know how long this hot spell weather is gonna last for, but anyway, I wrote a piece. It's a summer fun piece which I started writing, which I wrote the notes in the writing group yesterday, and it is entitled Music Surfers. Toby was hanging out in 2 Royal Avenue, Belfast, a space for the community which was independently run by the people. Toby was a black 19-year-old college boy. His hair was black afro style. He strolled through the main chamber with a dome above, which had 8 Munchkin figurine sculptures decorated around, which were in gilt gold paint. Each figurine had a sheen as they stood above, as if on guard. Toby had a wheelless skateboard under his arm, and in his other hand he had a boombox. A few people sat on various chairs and sofas that loitered around for relaxation. They looked at Toby as he walked past with his wheelless skateboard. Toby smirked to himself, thinking, "I have no use for wheels for the kind of surf I do." It was very warm outside, a hot summer's day, and a breeze blew through the doors as a refreshing blast. Toby stood at a clear area under the dome and set down his boombox, which was on the far left side as you entered through the main doors of the building. He bent down and was just about to press play when someone tapped him on the shoulder. Toby jumped and spun around and said, "Oh, you startled me there." Toby glared at a guy who stood in front of him with short sandy brown hair. The guy scratched his white chin looking at Toby's skateboard and replied, "Sorry for making you jump, but I was just wondering why there are no wheels on your skateboard." Toby smiled with his deep brown eyes lit with a sparkle. "Watch this, man." The 8 small figurines above slightly leant forward and watched Toby as he turned around to his boombox. Toby then pressed play and turned up the volume full blast. The song, this beat is technotronic, blasted and flowed from the speakers in a stream of sound waves, like wind flowing around. The sound waves whirled around the main chamber, rapping and flapping. Toby set his board next to the speaker where the jet stream of sound flowed from. He held on tight to the board so that it would not race off on its own. Suddenly, he turned his head to the guy and winked, and then hopped on his board, where he stumbled back on his board as it shot forward in a flash. Toby surfed on sound waves, using his feet to twist and turn his board. Sound nymphs danced around with the music, sending his arms in a goose pimple rush. The sound nymphs were transparent spirits, which had blue, sparkling, flowing dresses, green wings, and long, amber, glowing hair. The sound nymphs always flowed and danced around whenever there was music present. The 8 Munchkin figurines' eyes lit up and their mouths open while howling, "Whoa!" The guy with sandy brown hair nodded and was gobsmacked. He was a tall, well-groomed guy who was 20 years old. He watched Toby's every move as he flipped and spun his board while surfing the music. Suddenly, the guy had to duck as Toby surfed just above his head, screaming, "Yippee!" The people who sat around were tapping their feet to the music. Every beat caused a ripple in the sound waves, where Toby jumped from each peak to another. Then the sound waves twisted into a tornado where Toby flowed around in an invisible helter-skelter. The guy shouted as loud as he could over the music, "I'm going to press stop!" Toby nodded and put up his thumb to the guy. The guy then pressed stop on the boombox, where Toby skidded his board beside the guy and wiped his forehead from the sweat. "That was great." He took a deep breath and continued, "What do you think?" The guy nodded, smirked and replied, "Can I have a go?" The guy stretched out his hand and Toby shook his hand. The guy then said, "My name is Tim. What is yours?" Toby then handed Tim the board and said, "My name is Toby." Toby and Tim saw movement above and they quickly looked up at the figurines. But they were already back in their original sculpture poses. And Toby and Tim, none the wiser, surfed the music all afternoon and they found new friendship with each other. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, thanks.